Hey everybody, welcome to episode 2 of our IRS questions with tax expert John R Dundon. John, how you doing?
Doing great today. How are you doing?
Doing well. We had some great feedback from the first episode, and just wanted to start off right away with a comment that we had on the post from the first episode. So here we are. We've got Mr. TrickSprinkles9549, shout out to the Smoking Gardener who had this comment that's been summarized nicely here for everyone. The IRS changed laws this year, and if the tax preparer uses Form 8888, the refund is rejected electronically and sent via paper check, which means a further delay of up to 2 weeks to receive the funds. H&R Block filers are being penalized on a quick refund this year because H&R Block's process used Form 888 for the direct deposit transfer. Per new law, the IRS will not deposit funds electronically to any tax prep company using this form. I confirmed, and the IRS is indeed mailing the check. I'll be on the phone in the morning to get this situation remedied. I paid for the service to protect me from these things, and they screwed up. So all of you who filed H&R Block, be aware of this issue. John, you got any comments on that?
Well, I do. Thank you for asking. I guess what I'd like to start with is this comment about a recent tax law change relevant to Form 8888, the allocation of your income tax refund, your federal income tax refund. I honestly don't know of any new law relevant to this form, governing this form. And I tried, but that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. The laws are changing so fast. Even though I have a government relations person on my staff who I pay well to be informed and keep me informed, we find ourselves, and many of us in this field find ourselves challenged keeping up with the fast pace of tax law change. Now, that aside, let's drill down into this particular reader's comments. The Form 8888 really, in our practice, is intended for people that are looking to invest their refunds in either U.S. Treasury I-Series bonds, which are inflation-adjusted bonds, or into an IRA. Far more so than allocating the refund to any one of a number of bank accounts, up to 3. At issue that I think with this particular post is that there was a lack of communication somehow between H&R Block, the practitioner there, and the taxpayer in question, mostly because there are limitations to the 8888 form that may not have been explained. The biggest limitation is that the number of refunds that can be directly deposited to a single account or a prepaid debit card is limited to 3 in 1 year. After that limit is reached, then they default to the paper check. And so that's one limitation. The other limitation is that whatever account you have that deposit going to needs to be identified by your specific name and your identifying social security number. Otherwise, if they try to make a deposit and they can't match the name and social, it's going to default back to a paper check. So that's what I think this particular reader's up against here, is a lack of communication between himself and perhaps a lack of understanding of the 8888 form from the practitioner at H&R Block.
You TrickSprinkles9549, the Smoking Gardener, thanks for the comment. I hope this helps you figure any of this out. Good luck on getting your refund, one way or the other. Talking about H&R Block and things that can go wrong, I put up a poll on the subreddit about just in general everyone's experience. Like, well, who's the best? Who do you feel is the best? They're all talking about the various vendors, and I compiled as good of a list as I can, and I thought it would be a lot longer, but it wasn't. And here's what we've got going on here, and I wanted to get your thoughts on the results of the poll. Asked in here is, in your opinion, what are the best third-party processors for your tax refund, And then I just talk about options for responding. And the poll came in with 172 votes, with TurboTax winning at 82 votes, followed by Chime with 30, H&R Block, Cash App at 29, and H&R Block, coming in fourth this year. So just highlighting that people are not having good experiences with H&R Block this year, at least on the subreddit. And in there too, someone says tax slayer, significant ad 2509, and then someone asks about their deposit. Any inputs you want to give us on that?
I don't have very strong opinions about third-party payment processors other than to espouse that the cheapest ones possible, ideally free, and the ones that are accountable to some kind of a governing authority, are licensed and have coverage. That aside, I guess I would like to spend a few minutes just espousing my understanding of the H&R Block business model, which to me is challenging for the following reasons. They're predominantly transactional oriented in how they comport themselves in the community. In other words, the practitioners are evaluated based on the efficiency with they can process forms, which means that they're targeting people that may have just above the basic level of need and maybe just beyond the bounds of filing themselves, or perhaps may need some procedural guidance in terms of making sure that the forms are prepared correctly and that all of the substantiating documents are in place. With that being said, what I'd like to do is encourage all readers to basically pull the annual report of H&R Block. It's a publicly traded company, and there you'll see that they disclose how they spend their money, their financial statement. And one of the most jaw-dropping, mind-numbing line items on that financial statement is the amount that they pay in legal fees. The amount that they pay in legal fees relevant to gross receipts is astounding. And it's that way because that's their business model. They're process-oriented. Candidly, I don't think they give a crap about anyone, but they're shareholders. They're clearly not balancing the needs of their constituencies, and they're clearly not focused on the customer. What they're focused on is covering their own butts and processing as many returns as quote unquote efficiently as possible. And that's where I think the big difference is between transactional practitioners and relational practitioners that think about holistically you, your family, how your family can minimize taxes paid to the government, how your small business, family-owned situation can pay exactly what you owe and not a penny more.
John, well, how do you explain Intuit then doing so well this year on the poll? Anything on that?
How do I explain Intuit doing so well on the poll? I explain Intuit doing so well on the poll this way. They own 80% of the market share. They shove their stuff down our throats until we accept it with a smile on our face. And they do it better than H&R Block or Liberty.
Okay.
And that's why they own 80% of the market share. And so, of course, that's why they hold the highest. They have the most users.
John, that's great. Personally, I wouldn't go anywhere near a financial institution where the name is .com, just like I wouldn't go near a church where the name is .tv. So ultimately, that's where I'm at all that. Sounds like the best way to go is just Intuit or TurboTax. Or is it Intuit TurboTax? Did I get that right? Or is TurboTax Intuit?
So Intuit, a publicly traded company, owns TurboTax.
Got you. And are they connected to QuickBooks too?
And they own QuickBooks too. Yes, they're all.
Okay.
It's all part of the Borg.
I got you.
They're going to assimilate. Yeah, their goal is to assimilate all of us, and then they're going to put chips in our head.
Fantastic.
Yeah, get ready.
And
you can start with Elon Musk.
Say, John, what do you have to say about organizations that are offering bank products for advanced refunds?
Well, that's another great question, Patrick. Thank you for asking. I think that bank products for advanced refunds generally should be avoided at all costs and used only as a last resort if you're hard for cash. I think that if you look at the fees that are associated with receiving an advance on your refund, and you compare that to the fees that you might pay for an advance on a credit card, that they're going to probably come in about the same. And with regards to organizations that offer them, I know that they're great revenue generators for those organizations, and that's why they're aggressively marketed by some people, by some companies.
So you'd say that the behavior is borderline predatory?
Well, I'm saying that it can be borderline predatory, most certainly, particularly if you're appealing to a taxpayer that might be eligible for a certain level of refundable tax credits. In other words, tax credits that you receive regardless if you pay money into the system or not.
Fantastic. Makes sense. So sounds like the best thing to do is just take matters into your own hands and get your refund transferring right into your bank account. Get on the IRS.gov website, get registered, file your own taxes, minimize all those costs and expenses because they're just going into someone else's pocket.
Exactly.
Fantastic. So it's good to see that we've hit a milestone of 50,000 subscribers. Hopefully we get 50,000 more and 50,000 more problems. Thanks for joining us this week on the podcast, or vlog, I should say. We'll try to keep pumping this out and keep bringing your questions, comments, and liking, and we'll do our best to help you. Right, John?
Right on.
Have a good week.
Yep, you too. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Oh.